Here comes the podcast. Hello there. There we is. We is here.
Have you heard the better version of that song?
No.
Here comes the podcast. Look at him. There we are. There's a much better version that's like that with like an out of tune ukulele playing in the background.
Is it the Goblin version?
Yes.
Because when I was looking up the lyrics for it, I typed in,
there is a Goblin version.
and it came, and there was like, "Here comes the boy Goblin," and I was like,
Yeah. Here comes the boy. Look at him. There he is. It's great.
Please, sir, I'm just a little goblin. I only have 3 hit points. I will not drop good weapon. I do not know why I guard this dungeon. I am only level 1 goblin.
That is the superior version of Here Comes the Boy.
Okay, I'll have to look.
And I hear it in my head every time I see Spooky walk up to me in my house. Because he's a little fucking goblin.
He's a little goblin. Oh my god.
Yep.
Spooky's cute.
All right. Welcome to the podcast, everyone.
I already welcomed to the podcast.
Oh, did you?
That was the welcome to the podcast.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. All right.
He just woke
Here
up.
comes the podcast. Yeah, I also drank a lot last night.
Oh, I see.
I had a long night at work, and then my friend was throwing a house party, and I went over there and I drank a lot.
Oh, a house party.
I got to hang out with some, not that kind of house party, but got to hang out with a bunch of old friends and catch up with people. It was nice. Oh, speaking of which, hi Trevor. That's it. No context. Just hi Trevor. Moving on.
But did you say you would say hi to somebody?
Hi Trevor. Miss you. All right. Moving on.
Yeah, my guitar tech asked me for my YouTube channel. I'm like, dude, there's nothing on there that you're gonna like.
Yep.
He's like, I don't know, I'll just watch it anyway. It's just interesting to like, cause you come in and you're like, yeah, all I do is play video games and like to people online, and this just sounds weird. So I just wanted to check it out. I'm like, you are not gonna enjoy any of it.
Lol.
He's into like like super technical harmonic math metal and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm just like, you're not gonna jive with my ooh-woo personality.
Yeah. Is this baby metal?
Oh, speaking of ooh-woo, I did a clip yesterday. I read all of a speech from a game in not just in ooh-woo, but as Kermit ooh-wooing.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Just all of the sexy sounds overlapping on one another.
Sexy? Kermit?
That it was a
Jinx?
sarcastic sexy.
Jinx, do we need to talk?
No.
I think we need to have a talk.
Only if you do it in the Kermit voice.
Jinx, I think we need to have a talk.
I should not podcast after I've been drinking heavily the past night.
Or maybe you should.
Or maybe I should.
Oh my god. Man, it's gonna be an interesting podcast because I mean, in reality, nothing has changed since the last podcast we did. So this is gonna be heavily more random stuff leaning than
Yeah, there's really not much to talk about Genshin wise, like since the last. Oh god, both of my characters are burning with Dendro. This is awful. How the fuck did that happen? Oh god, my health.
Well, yep, I tried, but I did not succeed.
Good god, that was painful. All right.
Do you need a heal?
Not completely, no. Nah, I was like, cause like normally one of them gets dendroed, so I switched to the other one. But when I swapped, they immediately dendroed the other one. I was like, oh no.
Oh my god. All right. So, first of all, thank you, Zaxton Hong. Zaxton actually came and redeemed their tier 3.
Nice.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Zaxton, Archon of Timestamps. I think that's what the comments have officially designated you.
Yeah, timestamp Archon. Oh, jeez. And then other than that, I've got some interesting news for everybody. Jinx believes in manifesting
Lol.
and aligning his chakras.
Hey, I never said anything about chakras. I just like to do my weekly bosses exclusively when I get great fortune from the Narukami Shrine.
Uh-huh.
It's an internal game system that says I get better luck.
Uh-huh. But is it though?
I don't know. I have a sample size of 4 weeks.
Yeah. And what has your sample size of 4 concluded?
That so far I've gotten 2 billets out of the 4 weeks, which is a lot better than average.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Your sample size is small and you should feel bad.
It is, and I know. It's not about the size of your sample size, it's how you use it to justify your worldview.
That sounds like the opposite of what you should be doing, actually.
That's the joke. Something something ivermectin Facebook group something something.
Dude, I heard of Alabama. I think.
Ah, fuck yeah! I went to the wrong spot and broke all the rocks.
I'm
coming.
he's Cuban.
I broke the one south of Lingju Pass. My bad.
Cuban. I heard apparently Alabama had like a record number of people popping into the hospital from overdoses of ivermectin.
Yeah. So like, I have been putting some research into the whole ivermectin thing, and the thing is like,
as you should,
actually,
because your mother is in the CDC.
Yeah.
Well, why don't
It
you
actually
both of your
does-
parents in the CDC?
It does show some promise as a potential treatment. The problem is that there is not enough data. Like there is not enough data, and the only good meta-analysis on the subject that would have had enough data points has been proven to have faked numbers. So like the only like study that has the volume of data needed to actually like even make any kind of public health recommendations is invalid. So they are currently like in the UK and somewhere else, they are conducting massive trials where they are including it as they are including like ivermectin to try to gather more data points. So like there is a possibility it could be an effective treatment, but we don't have enough information, and anyone who thinks that it is running off of faulty information or propaganda.
No, one of the problems.
And yes, also, you know, don't take the ivermectin designed for horses and pigs because it's several times denser than like the ones given to humans, which is why people keep fucking overdosing off of it. You're not supposed to use the one that's dosage is set for pigs and horses when you're a person.
What do you mean? I can't take a horse tranquilizer and just be fine?
I mean,
Depends on who you are.
it's called a K-hole for a reason.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Ketamine is definitely used recreationally.
Wait, is that what ketamine is? Is horse tranquilizer?
Yeah, it's a horse tranquilizer.
I don't know anything about drugs. I am pure. I'm pure boy.
Dergs.
Uh,
Tuna pure boy. But yeah.
I'm sorry. I never succumbed
Also
to peer
not,
pressure.
also
Actually, I
not
never
meant
had
to
peer
be
pressure.
taken by humans. Also not taken by humans recreationally in the same dosages you give it to horses. Because they're horses.
Are you saying that I'm not as strong as a horse? I'm gonna fight you. I'm gonna
So you
fight
don't
a
have
horse.
the same body mass as a horse.
I'm gonna fight a horse right now.
I will fight a horse to prove to you I can take this dosage of ivermectin. Oi, horse, you want to fight?
Shank. Oi, what's all this then?
What's all this then, horse?
Hey, you got a license for that stabbing? I got my license right here. The license. Bloody
Good
hell.
God.
Be sad, isn't it?
But yeah.
Did I ever tell you about
I
the
think...
time that I rode a horse bareback?
No. You did not. But that sounds like a good story.
Okay, so I'm sitting on my family has a farm.
Right.
And we have one horse. And I was sitting there petting the horse, feeding it some stuff, and it like pulled up next to the fence sideways, and it stood there. And I don't know why, but I just got this inkling in my brain that you're supposed to ride that horse, man.
Yeah.
It didn't have its saddle or any of the bits on it or anything, or like any of the tack. And I'm just like, all right, let's just ride this horse. And I get halfway on the horse, and the horse just takes off.
Lol.
And so I'm on this thing basically sideways. And I've got to make the difficult decision.
Sideways without a saddle, the most dangerous possible way to ride a horse.
Yeah, yeah. And so I'm sitting here like, okay. I don't want to make this. I don't want to make it sound like I'm sitting on top of the horse with my legs hanging off the side. I want to stress I'm like fully straddling the horse, but at a 90-degree angle.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I have to make the difficult decision whether or not I stay on this horse and try to get on, or just fall off of it at full horse speed.
Oh no.
And I'm like, let's fall off of it at horse speed.
Oh no.
So I fall, and it is the first time I've ever rolled end over end. I land back first on a bunch of rocks.
Oh God.
And I roll backwards, and the horse comes up to me. Just like, Rocket, you're an asshole. But it was my fault.
Amazing.
It was great. It was a great experience.
Oh boy. But yeah, don't take ivermectin intended for horses, and get vaccinated, because that is proven to work well.
You know what also really proved to work really well when everybody was doing it? Masks and washing your hands.
Yeah, weirdly enough, pandemic protocols worked during a pandemic.
That's the crap
It's
that
almost
makes
like the scientific community has a body of research proving these measures work or something.
That's the crap that made me so mad. Is it's just like, dude, just like, okay, I understand.
I live in Georgia. How the fuck do you think I feel?
No, like I understand like the whole, oh, I don't want to take a vaccine that hasn't been out for a long time. Obviously,
don't trust it sort of thing.
yeah, like COVID as a virus has existed for a long time. This was
it's just these particular strains are significantly dangerous. Yeah.
Right. So we had the groundwork for it already. And there's reasons why it came out so fast. But like I understand and sympathize with that point. But like, what doesn't do anything to your body if you wear a goddamn mask?
Lol. But Tuner, it's uncomfortable and it's harder to breathe or something.
Oh,
it makes my glasses foggy.
Oh, it makes my glasses fog up. Oh.
The really horrendous thing is like how quickly these I was looking into an expose on these ivermectin Facebook groups and how quickly they devolved into hard anti-scientific dangerous propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them seem to believe that doctors and nurses are intentionally killing COVID patients to bump up COVID numbers, and they end up telling others to not go to ERs if you're sick because they will euthanize you. And they're also a lot of them seem to believe that everyone who's taking the vaccine is gonna die in 2 to 3 years.
Good.
There's a lot of really fucked up shit coming out of these places now.
Good. Won't come soon enough. It's like my cousin was smoking cigarettes outside of a hotel, and he's 18, probably even 17 at the time, and some older woman's like, those kill you, right? Because she was being Karen.
Yeah.
And he's just like, not soon enough.
I welcome death's embrace.
Oh my god.
Lord.
I'm a millennial. I only wish for the sweet release of death.
Oh yeah, Cronus said I started following our Herman Cain award in Reddit. What a ride it was. Yeah, Jenny has been telling me about shit on that. Herman Cain award, our Herman Cain rule is basically just like cataloging the people who like deny COVID as a thing or are like, you know, doing stuff that's like convincing people not to take proper precautions and then dying of COVID.
Yeah. Oh man. Speaking of
wear your masks,
COVID
get
and
vaccinated, yada yada yada.
speaking of COVID and all that kind of crap, the
Listen to the WHO, yada yada yada.
PAX West was a thing that happened, and it was
So was Dragon Con.
yeah. How was Dragon Con? Because PAX West was empty. It looked like TumblrCon, dude.
I haven't seen photos. From what I've heard, it was still pretty packed, and like it's all inside too. So
Yeah.
I mean, Con Crud's already a thing. Now we have Con COVID. So
Yeah, dude. Dude, if I ever go
I
to it, like,
I honestly haven't bothered looking into numbers out of morbid curiosity yet. So I don't know how it might have affected Georgia's numbers. But
I think you probably still
Gross.
have to wait like a week or two.
I mean, it's been like a week or two since Dragon Con now.
Yeah. Now, for me, like, dude, I don't care.
Yeah.
If I ever go to TwitchCon again, my ass is walking around in that like $300 Razer N95 mask with like the glowing RGB.
Yeah.
Or gamer. I don't even care, dude. See, it's so funny because, like, you know, I knew a lot of kids, you know, growing up. It's like we'd wear masks and stuff so we could pretend to be ninjas. Dude, it's like I just get to pretend to be a ninja.
Yeah. I'm a ninja. Plus, I look sexy with a black mask on.
True. It's slimming. It hides, you know, it hides like your daddy jawline.
Lol.
You're not
My
a
daddy jawline.
yeah, you're not a chiseled 19, 20-year-old anymore. You got
Lol.
I'm the same way.
LOL. I have lost like 20 pounds since I started working at a restaurant.
I'm sure you've been moving a lot.
Weird that being on my feet and running around for 7 to 8 hours a day, 5 days a week has made me lose weight.
Yeah.
Weird how that works.
We're gonna get shirtless Jinx pics again. We need
Lol.
to we need to update the shirtless Jinx pic.
Lol. Yeah, I've lost like 2 inches on my waist. I had to stab a new hole on my belt.
Jeez.
So yeah, that's the podcast section about COVID.
The worst part is gonna be like, oh, you're making this political. It's like, okay, how is COVID political?
how is caring about public safety and proper precautions during a pandemic political? I mean, people have made it political, that's for sure, but people make everything political.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, talk about any recent news in science and people will make it political.
Everything's political.
Talk about old news in science and people will make it political.
Dude, everything's political. Everything's political.
Like the fact that concerns of like pre-COVID concerns over vaccinations and their safety is old news and also been disproven. The research that propagated all of these like Facebook mom groups of anti-vaxxers has been disproven to be poor research by the scientific community repeatedly, but doesn't stop people from latching onto it.
No. Everything's political. Even Fat Thor is political.
Oh, speaking of Fat Thor, speaking of daddy, jawline. Good transition, by the way.
I work on this. You think I don't do anything? You think I don't like purposefully line things the way that I do? I do it because I know you well enough that I can kind of
you know how to steer the
Yeah.
ADHD brain of a Jinx.
Yeah, no, dude, I think you underestimate how much effort I put into this podcast.
I don't know if I underestimate it. I just always enjoy noting how good you are at driving my brain. I'm Beidou and you're my sucrose OTP.
God. So
driving my 5 instances of 20k damage a second with your soft sucrose hands.
uh,
Oh.
uh,
Oh.
okay.
Vroom vroom.
Okay. You made it weird. All right.
Okay, fine. Your soft girl sucrose. I don't know.
You're making it weirder.
The woo-ness.
So, anyways,
Anyway,
God
Fat
of
Thor.
God of War Thor is fat, and you have to deal with it.
Anyways, historical Thor is fat, and you have to deal with it.
People are so
And has red hair.
yeah. People are so mad about the new God of War Thor because he's kind of a chubby
Because he's
boy.
Because he's more historically accurate than the fucking Marvel and DC Thor that is blonde for some reason.
Yeah.
Despite multiple references in the Prose and what's the other one? There's the Prose Edda and the other Edda. I always forget the name of the other one. But the multiple references to Thor's red hair and beard in those poems.
I have not read, but
I've only read a little bit of it. I've mostly seen excerpts related to things since I enjoy studying like mythology. It's a fascinating subject. Part of the reason I started watching so much overly sarcastic productions lately is because they have a series where they basically cover myths and legends in like 10 to 20 minute snippets.
yeah.
And yeah, it's very interesting stuff. But yeah, no, he is Thor's a redhead, guys. Thor's a redhead with a beard. I don't know why they have a clean-shaven blonde man as Thor in DC and Marvel comics. But that's not historically accurate. And the only, like, references we get to Thor's body specifically, like, his strength is, like, you know, he's, like, the strongest Asgardian. Like, he's extremely mighty, but there is a reference to a particular poem, I think in the Prose Edda, that where someone specifically makes fun of him for being slovenly and eating too much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's
Because
royalty,
that's what
dude.
Thor, and that's what Thor likes to do. Like he is supernaturally strong, but he likes to drink beer, eat, and laugh. Like that's like his things. Like that's all he fucking does most of the time is just eat a shitload of food and drink a fuckload of beer.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a canon story where Thor is tricked by a trickster into doing trials for him. And basically, the trials are set up to be impossible, but he does them so well that even though he fails, he almost destroys the world in the process. Like one of them is that he's like, oh,
You can't
all you have to
divide
do is
by 0. Watch me.
basically, like one of them, the trickster who is like at the time pretending to be some giant or some shit. I forget the exact details, but anyway, the trickster like hands him like, say, okay, for this trial, all you have to do is finish this drinking horn. And Thor's like, watch me. So he starts drinking, and he keeps drinking, but he can't finish it. And then he eventually fails. Because the drinking horn was connected to the ocean, but he drank enough of the ocean that he was able to lower the sea level by a few feet, which risked destroying the world, so he made him stop.
Oh my god. That's funny.
Thor, a fat boy.
They also made we just we kind of talked about it earlier a little bit off stream, but it's people who think like, oh well, fat people can't have stamina, fat people can't be strong. He's like,
Yeah,
I would like to point you
can't be
to
athletic.
I would like to point you to the Beast and the Mountain, who are not necessarily tiny guys. They are big men.
There are lots of big men. I mean, if you don't think a man with a belly can be strong, you've never seen a strongman competition.
Right. Yeah. No. I'm sure underneath.
You've also never seen a linebacker without their football gear on.
Right, yeah.
Like,
You ever seen Nadomik and Sue? Any Husker fans out there remember Sue? The man was large.
like, it seems like a lot of these people, especially like fitness obsessed people, kind of fall into the very common and like very heavily propagated trap of thinking that anyone with belly fat therefore is associated with the issues that come from obesity, like poor cardiovascular health and shit like that. It's like, no, there are incredibly fit, muscular, athletic people who also have a lot of body fat because they didn't bother to cut weight after they built up a shitload of muscle.
Mm-hmm. which
You need,
you know,
you need a lot of protein and calories to build up that kind of musculature.
yeah, and like, you know, sometimes you overeat what you're taking in, but you still need to get that much just to have a chance at building that kind of muscle.
Yep.
You don't get that big without eating a lot.
Yep. And some people just don't ever, like, they'll still have fantastic cardiovascular health. They'll still have insane amounts of musculature. Any strongman, strongman competition participants. But they also happen to have a belly. It's part of the reason why, like, super heavyweight is such a scary weight division in, like, boxing and sports, because it's basically anyone who's this weight over. So you have people from, like, Mike Tyson physiques and kind of short to, like, giant to, like, behemoths with bellies and fucking log-like arms.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and people, you know, just as a slight aside, people who were like, "Oh, I bet I could take Mike Tyson," is like, no, you probably still couldn't take Mike Tyson, dude.
Bruh. Mike Tyson is boxing history's most famous one-trick pony.
Yeah.
Because the man literally had one fighting style, but he did it so well with such mechanical precision that people knew exactly how he was going to box and still couldn't beat him. You couldn't outbrain him. Like, most boxers, you know, they have particular styles, there's certain things they do, they have ways to counter them. So people, you know, study their matchups, they try to spar against people who are similar, and they try to, like, figure out how to, like, outbox them from a thinking perspective, right? Because most boxers have some combination of, like, outboxing and inboxing and shit that allow you to kind of try to figure out ways to counter them. Mike Tyson.
No. Mike Tyson is literally the heavy from TF2.
Yes.
Some people think they can outsmart me. Maybe. I've yet to meet one who could outsmart Bullet.
Yeah, basically. Replace Bullet with Punch, and that's Mike Tyson. Like, Mike Tyson has one thing. He goes into a really low infighting stance, he bum rushes you, he bobs and weaves viciously to avoid any kind of anti-approach you have, and then he gets into his tiny box in you and he beats the ever-loving fuck out of you faster than you can possibly defend against. That is what Mike Tyson does.
No, see, it's not float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. It's float like an M1 Abrams, hit like an M1 Abrams.
Yeah, basically. Float like a speeding freight train. Continue being a speeding freight train. Yeah, no, Mike Tyson is, I don't know. I was really into boxing for a hot minute when I was younger. Mike Tyson he's a fascinating case study in boxing.
Maybe you could have been like a freaking Olympic fencer, you know?
Junior Olympic, yeah. My coach wanted to train me for it, but it was too depressing.
Too depressing.
Sag. Would have been an interesting experience for sure. Yeah, and like my coach wasn't like bullshitting either, because his son held his son had gotten a silver Olympic medal in fencing for Venezuela. Ooh. So like he had the coaching like chops to do that. That wasn't like a idle promise or anything. But shrug. Say Levy.
Think of where we'd be right now.
Yeah.
If
life would have been very different if I had my mental health taken care of when I was younger, but then I wouldn't be here talking with Tuner. So I think things worked out okay.
I don't know where I'd be.
Yeah. Maybe you would have gotten that architectural engineering degree.
Oh, if I got my mental health in order? Oh, I don't know where I'd be if you were here. No, if I got my mental health in order, huh. I don't know. I probably would, because I left architectural engineering because my professor was a dick. Not because I was sad or anything, just because he was an absolute tool.
Yeah, but also your mental health is part of not being able to handle that kind of a thing, you know?
I mean,
not being able to like push through it for the sake of completing a degree.
Yeah, but then like if I kept going, I would have paid him money.
I mean, true, but you also would have been building towards a career. I mean, the reality is that everyone who gets a 4-year degree has at least some shitty professor.
Yeah, but he was like the head of the program,
Yeah.
which I don't know. But and then I would have you ever seen that episode of Bob's Burgers where
I've seen every episode of Bob's Burgers.
okay, so the episode of Bob's Burgers where he's like dreaming of having a different job and he's like dreaming
Yeah.
of working in corporate and he's like just sitting there seemingly really happy just
Yeah, joking with people in the water cooler and shit.
and then he wakes up and it's a nightmare.
Yeah. Happiness and stability? God, no. I'm an entrepreneur.
Right? That's kind of how I feel sometimes.
Lol. See, that's part of the reason why I got out of YouTube work, right? Is because it's the opposite for me, right? Like the realities of the lack of stability and the intensity of entrepreneurial work and all of that stuff is what made me like so unhappy doing this.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, there's a lot of
I enjoy
expectations
doing
to have on yourself, and you can't blame anybody but yourself. You
Nope.
can't be like, oh,
Only
well,
yourself.
so and so didn't get me the thing, so that's why I didn't
Yeah.
have it in time. It's like, no, I didn't get the thing, so I don't have the
I
thing in
didn't
time.
do the thing. Yeah, like it's that the pressure of entrepreneurship was like emotionally crippling for me, and that's just not like. Now that I'm back to having like a stable, safe job with a comfortable hours and schedule and everything, like oh yeah, this is really nice. This is what I'm built for. Like I'm also definitely built to like potentially work with stakeholders. Like I enjoy like making recommendations for improvements and optimizations and everything that improve like a workplace or efficiency or like fix problems and stuff like that. But I'm not built to be the stakeholder. Like I'm not built like that's what I did when I was doing consulting work was I was working with stakeholders and working with management and ownership and stuff and like
See,
figuring out how
you
to
keep
improve
saying
things and whatnot.
stakeholder, but I keep thinking in the context of a restaurant, and I just imagine you holding like a filet mignon.
I mean as in like ownership and stuff like that, but yes.
It's a New York strip. I don't know cuts of beef. I couldn't tell you what's the good one. I know filet mignon is really expensive, and I
Filet
know New
mignon
York strip is like
filet
the
mignon's
cheap one.
kind of expensive. Like it's expensive-ish, but yeah. If you wanna sound really fancy, call it a rib cap.
A rib.
Call it a
cap.
rib cap or a hanger cut, because those are like the two that are like actually expensive and fancy that you won't find in like a grocery store. The rib cap is the very top cap crown part of the ribeye cut. And normally when you buy like a ribeye steak, you'll get like an inch of fucking rib cap at the top. But the rib cap is trimming that entire cap off and basically getting like this like flat strip steak looking like crown cut out of it. And that shit is incredibly expensive. In fact, I believe specifically getting a rib cap is the most expensive per pound you can get out of a cow.
Really?
The other cut isn't as expensive, the hanger cut, but it's a special cut. Because it's basically the inside of the skirt cut. The inside of the skirt for a cow, and there's only about a pound to a pound and a half per cow. So it's colloquially called the butcher's cut because butchers tend to save the cut for themselves because it won't sell well because people don't know what the fuck a hanger cut is. Because no grocery store sells hanger cuts. Like there's too little supply for there to ever really be any like good enough demands to sell it at a grocery store. And most butchers on top of that. So it's how hanger cuts the kind of cut you'll pretty much only ever see at like a high-end restaurant. Like we sell a hanger cut as our steak frites at Leon's, and you'll basically never see it in like a butcher store or a grocery store. Because even most butchers don't bother to sell it because it won't sell before it goes bad because people don't know what the cut is.
Right. They're just like, why is this so expensive? I had no idea what this is. I'm not buying it.
Why would I buy this instead of like a ribeye cut or like a filet mignon cut for like around the same price? Like, what the fuck is this? So yeah, it's the secret cuts. It's the secret sauce.
It reminds me of Raising Cane's. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a fast food place. It's not fancy by any means, but Raising Cane's apparently only uses 2 pieces of chicken from each chicken that they get, and then they give like
Yeah.
the remains to other restaurants like McDonald's or whatever.
Yeah, makes sense.
They use each side or like either side of the spine of the chicken, the meat that's just right next to the spine. And those are the chicken tenders from Raising Cane's, is like the spine meat.
Yeah, which is really, really good meat. It's really good meat.
Yeah, and that's the only 2 pieces of meat they use. They give the rest to everybody else.
I've heard people call that part of the chicken the filet mignon of chicken, which is like not accurate because it's actually incredibly fat heavy, as opposed to a filet mignon which has basically no fat. But it is also kind of true in that there's like such a small amount per chicken, and it's a really good cut of the chicken.
I was gonna say you would probably know a lot about chicken from Georgia.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I cook whole chickens and shit, and that's always the part of the chicken I'm like, I'm eating this. This is mine. This meat mine.
Yeah, so I know you haven't had Raising
similar-
Cane's, but Raising Cane's is that part only.
Gotcha, yeah. There's a similar cut on, like, fish that is, like, again, called the filet mignon of fish, not because it's, like, not fatty like filet mignon is, but it's very tender and does have a good amount of fat. And it's, like, right behind... It's, like, where the ear would be on a fish if a fish had ears.
Yeah.
Like, right behind, like, the... between, like, right in that corner of, like, the gills and the back of the eye. There's, like, this tiny little section of fish meat that is just deliciously succulent for the head meat.
So Georgia's known for chicken.
Well, no, Georgia's known for peaches, but
peaches.
we produce the largest amount of chickens per capita out of any state in the U.S.
Okay, so Georgia's
We are where
Georgia's
most of the chickens in the U.S. come from.
Georgia is peaches.
I got my peaches out in Georgia, yeah.
So peaches, chickens,
And racism.
I was gonna say racism. I was actually trying to lead into that.
It's okay, I get to say it. I'm from here.
Oh, freaking. And then I've been trying to figure out what Washington is. It seems just like depression and
And the capital.
depression. I don't know, dude. No, Washington State.
Oh, Washington State, not D.C. Gotcha.
Yeah, just trying to figure out what's Washington is just depression and apparently fires right now.
Oh yeah, T-Love makes a good point. And red clay. We do export a lot of red clay. Yeah, we are known for our red clay. Georgia clay.
The only thing I know about red clay is they tried making a tennis court out of it, and everybody hated it so much. Like somebody like snapped their ankles on it. So that's the only thing I know about. I watched like a random documentary on like clay or tennis court surfaces once. I don't know why. It was one of those 3 a.m. YouTube vids. They're just like, can't sleep, just gonna consume media.
Yeah. Yeah, as T-Love says, we import most of our farmland because our red clay isn't very good for growing shit.
I
So
see.
we import dirt from other places. I actually knew that. So when I was working at the Optims, I had this regular who would always like drop so much fucking money every time he came in. And I got to chatting with him one time, and he's like, "Yeah, no, like I'm like a hustler. I'm always like starting a new business and like switching over to a new one if it seems more profitable." I'm like, so what are you doing right now? He's like, "Oh, I sell dirt." He just runs a bunch of like an entire like truck company basically that just imports dirt. That's all he does, and he makes fucking bank.
Nice. You getting any good tips?
I mean, yeah, but we're on a tip pool, so like.
Oh, true. What's the
Any
biggest
good
tip
tips?
you've ever received so far?
At here or like in general?
I guess both. At here and in general.
In general, I got $1,000 tip from this one birthday party I took care of. It was like 12 people, and they ordered literally everything on the menu, and then drank through like 4 bottle services of Don Julio Silver. And this was the group that like I'm not gonna say for certain they paid me in drug money. I'm just gonna say that the incredibly tattooed, very round Hispanic man and the very tall black man who paid me both paid me exclusively in 20s and were counting out the 20s while chatting with me and not looking at the money. And their bill was like $2,000 with like $500 of auto grat on there, and they knew about the auto grat, and they gave me an extra 500 on top, and they counted it out while chatting with me without looking at the money they were counting out in exclusively 20s, and there was only like a third of the 20s they had on them too. Like it wasn't even like all of their 20s to pay that bill. And the Hispanic guy at one point was like, "Hey, you like when I was chatting with me while counting out his money, it's like, you Filipino?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm Chinese." He's like, "Oh, okay, I know a bunch of Filipino guys. Those motherfuckers are crazy. Most of them are in jail though." I'm just like, "Yes, sir. Yep. Yes, sir."
What?
As after they were done paying me, I didn't clean up. I walked straight into the manager's office and sat down, and I refused to leave until the $3,000 that was in my hand in 20s was in the safe. Because I was not gonna risk losing $3,000 in 20s. So yeah, that is the biggest tip I've ever gotten from a table, and it was a 12-person group. It was like the one of the guys who paid it was his girl's birthday, so they were like bowling out. But yeah, the biggest tip I've gotten at Leon so far, I got like. Biggest percentage tip was I had like a table that spent like $250 or something and left me $100.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I've gotten a bigger tip from like a big table. I just can't remember because like it was probably just like a standard 20% or something.
I'll give
like
you a bigger tip.
But yeah, that was that the other story's better. If you want to hear about a big tip story, that one is. I mean, they say like what's it like a fifth of all dollars in the U.S. has cocaine on it. I'm pretty sure it was higher percentage for that one, but yeah. Anyway.
See, Jinx, that's when you go back and you like test the money for like drug residue.
Lol.
Oh my god.
Lol. Yeah, no, that was an interesting night.
Dude, wait. Come here. Come stand here.
They were all really nice too. Like
no,
really
stand
nice
here.
People.
Hold on. Does this not look just like the end of the base Monster Hunter World Hammer?
Oh shit! Yeah, it kind of does. Yeah, kind of does.
This is now the Hammer Rock.
Hammer Rock.
Hammer Rock.
The hammer is my penis.
Alright, let's go to your.
Okay. And if you don't get that reference, go watch Dr. Horrible Sing Along blog, you uncultured ruffian.
God damn it. Oh, God. Jinx.
Lord.
You are sometimes.
Now, we ain't gonna have no Genshin talk in this episode. And
sometimes you are too much.
LOL. Sometimes.
You are frequently too much. Well, anyways.
I mean, technically, since it's not 100% of the times, it is in fact sometimes, I guess.
Well, day man, fighter of the night man. Did you see what happened, or was that because of me?
I'm just singing with you.
No, I joined in, and it was daytime, and then it immediately went to night.
Nice.
I think it's because my world was day and maybe yours was night. I don't know.
Master of the Sun. Oh wait, no, Champion of the Sun. Master of karate and friendship for everyone. Dayman.
Fighter of the night man. champion of the sun.
That gains so much more like you still haven't seen the episodes it's from, and it gains so much more context when you understand the context from like the 2 main episodes that are about it.
Hey, I told you, you need to just set up a time when we watch all of the episodes that you think are funny. You know, it's
the problem is that's like a third of the goddamn episode.
Yeah, well, you just start watching them. We'll get done eventually.
LOL.
I've never seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which Jinx thinks is a travesty, and apparently a lot of other people think it's a travesty.
It is. It is it is the longest running live action comedy in TV history for a reason.
Where'd you go?
Huh? Ah, fuck! I went to the wrong spot.
But you.
I forgot we go across the sea.
Somewhere beyond the sea, somewhere waiting for me. My Jinxo stands on golden sands from Undertale.
And then I think of my
Omae wa shinderu.
I don't know why, but the tune of what you were singing made me think of that enormous penis song. And I just think of my enormous penis, and my troubles just melt away. Ooh, ooh. Something about like the tune, or maybe like.
I mean, they're both kind of show tunes in a way. You know?
Yeah, that's fair.
They're not show tunes or like quartet songs.
Yeah, little barbershop modern barbershop quartet sort of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You threw off my groove. I'm sorry, but you've thrown off the Emperor's groove.
The Emperor's groove.
But
I still can't decide if Kronk or Major Armstrong is like my OTP himbo.
Where's the oars, Jinx?
I broke him, remember? I went to the wrong spot, and you're like, where do you go?
Wait, you already went over there and just started breaking
Yeah!
stuff? Oh my god. He's quick.
But I can't decide if Kronk from Emperor's New Groove or if Major Armstrong from FMA is my OTP himbo. Because they're both daddy. They're both soft daddy.
Okay, well, a himbo has to be a couple things. They have to be unbearably stupid.
Yeah,
but they have to be
Armstrong,
well-intentioned.
That's kind of the problem, is that Armstrong is everything except for incredibly stupid.
Yeah, so he can't be a himbo.
He's actually stupid.
Yeah.
Fine.
So he can't be.
Kronk's my daddy.
Kronk is stupid. He's tall, big, strong, but also kind. You can't
also
have
kind
like
and very well-intentioned.
Yeah, well-intentioned.
Yeah, in original FMA, Major Armstrong is never characterized as stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And in Brotherhood, he's not characterized as stupid, but he's characterized as kind to the point of cowardice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, that's no.
Wherein, like, he's literally considered a coward by his military peers because he fled from the Ishbalan massacre. Because his heart couldn't stand it.
Yeah, so that'd be like a teddy bear.
Yeah. And, like, anytime Armstrong shows... Because Jenny and I are watching through FMA, the original. And anytime Armstrong shows up, we're just like, it's Daddy! Daddy's here!
You know, sorry, my classification of male characters in animes is very stringent.
Very stringent. I'm known quite well in the academic literature of the himbo considerations in Japanese animation.
It's not even just Japanese animation. I mean, Kronk is not a Japanese anime.
I know.
It's just like one of my Japanese animes. Oh my god. Things must be well defined, otherwise names have no meaning. What was the purpose of English if not to define the himbo?
LOL.
This man's greatest achievement, the definition of himbo. Oh my god. Hey, it's Zaxton. Hey, Zaxton.
Hey, Zaxton.
Real rhyme is Zaxton.
Oh, real rhyme is Zaxton?
Yeah.
Hey. It's the Archon of Timestamps, everyone. Everyone pledge your allegiance.
Please give a hearty hello to Zaxton, who gives you timestamps.
Yes.
If you don't, we'll end the podcast right now.
LOL.
Is that a promise?
Or a threat.
Don't
Wait,
threaten me
threat
with
is
a good time. I wish I could pick you up and like toss you in the water. You can toss your balls in the water, I guess.
LOL.
You're what is that called again?
By Daruma.
The woohoo something? I don't know.
Woohuma.
There's a video that's just like Dainsleif saying it's Dainsleif, but only when he says Sayu's abilities. the woohoo art. Duru mama murma. I don't know. It's like basically it's funny. It's a good video. Yeah, if you just want to look it up, it's Dainsleif, but only when he's saying Sayu's arts or Sayu's abilities.
LOL.
It's pretty good.
Muji Muji Daruma.
Yeah. Muji Muji Daruma. Muji Muji Daruma. Muji Muji Daruma.
Sorry, my brain went somewhere for a second because I was imagining a Dayman parody with Zaxton Hong. Zaxton Hong, master of the timestamps. Hong, champion of something. Hong, master of audience retention and time saving for everyone. Zaxton. Oh.
This is terrible.
It's really bad.
It's really bad. You don't know how to sing.
I don't. I'm really bad at singing. Look at Tuner flaunting his singing privilege over me.
Privilege.
Singing privilege.
Honey, I worked for it. Oh my god. Dude, we ruined. I should say we. You ruined the segue I had into McDonald's ice cream.
LOL.
Because I was gonna have. Speaking of, we were talking about Fat Thor. I was speaking of Fat Thor. McDonald's ice cream, and then we moved on to like restaurants, like, or no, we were talking about depression or something randomly. I was like, speaking of depression and fat people, McDonald's ice cream. And then we were talking about restaurants, like, speaking of McDonald's restaurants and depression, McDonald's ice cream. And we just moved so far beyond it that I couldn't
LOL.
do it. But did you hear that?
Beyond!
Did you hear that the...
God damn it, I went the wrong way again.
Oh my god, how do you keep doing this?
Because I'm enjoying my time with my friend Tuner so much I forget where I'm going in Genshin. Me. With my best friend Tuner.
Did you?
So McDonald's ice cream.
I'm gonna cry. So did you hear about how the FDA is, or no, the Federal Trade Commission, so FTC? I can't remember. I feel bad. But basically, they're looking into why McDonald's ice cream machines are always broken, because they're thinking about like charging them with false advertising. This is kind of old news at this point. But yeah,
That's
like
amazing,
there's
though.
going to be a federal investigation into why McDonald's ice cream machines are always broken.
That's amazing.
And supposedly it's something like every time they want the machines cleaned, it costs like each store $1,000 or something like that.
Oh my god, what?
Because they're contracted out to like specific cleaners or something. I
my
started
God.
reading into it. I was like, wow, this goes deep, dude. What the hell?
LOL.
This is a rabbit hole.
It's not just people lazily not wanting to provide you milkshakes.
Yeah.
It's actual corporate scandals.
Yeah, like this rabbit hole goes deep, dude. It's like a conspiracy. Oh, jeez. But yeah, no. God. freaking. And then it was gonna go. Speaking of McDonald's, Rick and Morty. Like I had this all placed out
Dude,
in
yeah,
like
we need to. LOL. You did not account well enough for the Jinx tangents machine.
Well, no.
It's an overdrive.
Somebody actually said there was a comment. God, I wish I could remember who said it, but they said they appreciate the ADHD like like train of thought that we put into our
the flow of consciousness style of our podcast.
Yeah. That's the other they're saying is like the flow of consciousness style of ADHD like podcast, and they really appreciate it. And I wish I could remember who made that comment, but if you see this, or if you hear this, just know that that was really cool, really good validation. And honestly, people have been coming in all this last week, and just like, hey, watch the podcast, and just wanted to let you know that I really appreciate it, even the random crap. And like people have been really cool. They've been coming in, and I understand, not necessarily like sitting there and chatting because people are busy and they've got stuff to do, but just dropping in for that 30 seconds, a minute, and just being like, hey, I really do appreciate the podcast, really even the random stuff, and it's been really nice.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it's been really nice.
One day we will be the new Trash Taste podcast.
The what?
I don't know. I've never even watched Trash Taste. I just know they're a very successful YouTube podcast that I see on my recommended sometimes.
Oh.
They're like this really big YouTube podcast called Trash Taste.
I've never watched or listened to another podcast before, and maybe I should. Just to get some...
I do listen to quite a few podcasts. The only like YouTube-based one I listen to is Slightly Something Else from The Escapist.
Mm-hmm.
With Yahtzee Croshaw, the zero punctuation guy, and like the other person in the podcast changes from week to week, but it's someone from The Escapist staff. And then I do listen to a few other podcasts like on my phone when I'm like taking screen breaks or whatever, or like going to work sometimes. I listen to Freakonomics Radio. I listen to Tim Ferriss's podcast. I used to listen to Find Your Fitness more, but it's a bit too academically dense for me that it's like I have to like actually sit down and fucking listen to it really intensely anytime I'm listening to it. Cause it's like a microbiologist doing interviews and having conversations about health related topics with like experts in each of the fields. So it's just like incredibly dense academic talk the entire time, and I have to like actually tune the fuck in to understand what the fuck they're talking about.
That's the best part about our podcast. You don't have to pay attention at all.
Nope.
You can just throw it on in the background.
For the Genshin, stay for the memes. Come for the Genshin, stay for the potentially drug dealer $1,000 tip stories.
No, people come for the Genshin, stay for the bro love.
For the bro love, stay for the gay.
No, that's what people were like. Oh, I came in for Genshin. I wasn't expecting feels at the end of this podcast.
LOL. Yep.
I remember we was talking about the feels in the last one.
It's guy love between two guys.
But yeah, the Rick and Morty finale was.
Oh god! So
speaking
the last
of feels,
3 episodes.
Yeah.
I did feel a bit like the first half of that 2-episode finale was a little. Like, I get why it was plot relevant, but it also felt not plot relevant.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of setting up that.
It was setting up the punch of the final episode.
Well, and if you use it in conjunction with the one episode where they go out into space with Summer, and they go on their little rager.
Oh, yeah, by the way, spoilers for the end of fucking Rick and Morty season finale, by the way.
Yeah, whatever. And, you know, and he finds, you know, like
timestamps to find when this talk ends, but
you know, like the hello episode, that one.
yeah.
Well, you know, if you use it in conjunction with that, and then just then the general like Morty not really needing Rick, and him kind of not having as much of a power hold on it on the family, it kind of all goes together that like Rick just really doesn't feel like he has a place in the family anymore.
Yep, especially after like the past 3 seasons of establishing that trend.
But it just seems like it's really been in this, very specifically in like this trend or this season. It's just been, he's really not been the head of the household anymore.
Yep.
And
it was kind of established in the previous season finale where they even joke about that at the very end of like with Beth and Space Beth, and them just being like, maybe you need us to need that like dad, but we don't, and they just leave.
Yeah.
Before he can reveal who's the real Beth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, definite trend they've been going down. And I feel like this, because like I believe for season 4 as well, but also especially for this season, they've moved to a primarily female staff of writers. And I feel like that's very apparent in like this past season.
Okay, well, I want to know who the hell came up with the horse semen episode, because that was just stupid. That was easily the worst episode of Rick and Morty I've ever seen in my life.
LOL. Yeah, that one was funny. I guess.
Was it funny? Because I didn't even think it was funny.
I thought it was a bit funny.
It was just bad.
Yeah. Shrug.
I was
it seems to have been pretty universally pandered. Or what? Not pandered. What's the
panned.
Word? Panned. Yes, the other PAN word that does not mean good.
Yeah, I was uncomfortable pretty much the whole time.
Yeah.
But the ending though, I really liked. I did notice a small thing, whereas like Rick needed Morty to push the lever at the end of it,
here, by
right?
The way.
What?
Yeah. There was a rock down there that you missed, by the way.
Oh. You know, he needed Morty's help to push the lever at the end of it. But I did notice that when it was pushed forward, Morty fell off of it.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's like a signifier, or if it was just like a random detail. Because I mean, somebody had to animate that, so it was intentional.
I was gonna say, Rick and Morty historically doesn't really do like random details that don't have some significance. Something's either like a reference or has some sort of relevance lore-wise. They don't really do random details, so I think that has some significance. But...
So I don't know if, you know, it's going to be fixed next season where they have like an equal footing, or if it's going to be like starting out equal, but then devolves
the universe,
back. Or...
like the multiverse is literally not Rick focused anymore.
Yeah.
Like the literal finale of the season was the multiverse no longer being Rick centric.
Well, okay. Well, did he? I couldn't quite tell. I've only seen the episode once. I should probably watch it more again. But did he break the central finite curve, or did he just escape it?
That I believe he destroyed it, but I don't know if that's like fully apparent. Like,
I thought he just
watched
escaped.
it once, so my understanding was that he broke the finite curve. But that was my understanding of it. It's possible I misinterpreted it because I only did watch it once. Yeah. Did he just break through the destroy the finite curve, or did he break through it?
Yeah. Well,
I do feel like he would have had to break it because it has significantly less plot relevance if he simply escaped it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, random characters come and go. The characters, I mean, there's a couple characters that I'm interested in seeing if they'll ever bring back, like especially the Planetina.
Yeah. Planetina episode, Sag.
Yeah. Well, because I think it was really interesting that like they had Morty break up with Planetina. They didn't have Planetina break up with Morty, which I think was a really interesting. Because I feel like season 1 Morty would have just gotten dumped, but like
but that also shows some of his. It shows like his development into having more agency and deciding for himself what his morals are. As opposed to just going along with the flow of whoever the powerful person in his life says the morals are. which was his, season 1 and 2 relationship with Rick.
Mm-hmm.
Which, at least to me, was kind of the purpose of the Planetina episode, was to show that development that Morty has had as a character.
Yeah, I guess if you ignore some of the random crap, because I think there was just a lot of really bad episodes in season 5, but there was also some like really good ones. I think it was the most mixed bag I've seen.
Yeah, I honestly liked most of the episodes for the most part. The like horse semen one was kind of the most. I don't know. I still thought it was fun, I guess. I mean, it was definitely needlessly obscene.
Mm-hmm.
But I still thought it was fun. It just didn't really feel like it did anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, plot relevancy and lore development-wise.
Mm-hmm.
And character development-wise. It didn't really feel like it did anything.
Yeah. And then, like, there was the clones one that didn't really feel like it accumulated anything.
True.
I mean, because potentially, like, literally, it didn't even happen,
Yeah, it didn't really have much relevance. And at least currently, I can't really think of, like, any kind of character development relevancy it had. Like how the Planetina episode shows us an important stage in Morty's arc of, like, having his own agency and independent thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And having his own arcs, for that matter. But yeah, I can't. Like, the horse semen one, the only thing I can think of is it kind of sets up the next part where it kind of sets up the space incest baby for the whole, like, Summer cares more about family thing now.
Yeah.
But then that doesn't really feel, that, like, concept doesn't really feel like it comes back for the rest of the season.
Right.
Like, the idea of Summer caring more about her family now.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like, I don't know, it feels like a one-episode character development that doesn't really affect the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So shrug.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that too. Like I actually forgot about that subplot.
Yeah, exactly, because it's not that significant.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the episode where they had the go-go-trons, and I was like, oh, wait, yeah, that's the one with, like, the Summer likes family thing, which
like, I feel like the bigger, at least to me, the bigger, like, lore relevancy of that Go-Go-Tron episode is, again, exploring what happens when you do fully enable Rick.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you do allow him to basically be the center of your universe.
Yeah.
And, like, that, I feel like, had a lot of relevance, especially with how the season ended.
Mm-hmm.
But it also felt a little unnecessary, because I feel like it's well established what happens if you let Rick be the center of your universe.
Yeah, that's what season 1 and 2 were about.
To his id. Yeah, exactly. So, like, I feel like it wasn't necessary, but it did have relevance.
Yeah. I guess, I don't know if we've ever seen, like, the full descent into...
True, the full descent into, like, because, like, they've always had, like, the whole making Rick the center of your universe. They've never had the whole making Rick's id the full center of your universe.
Mm-hmm.
Because that episode was purely Rick pursuing and embodying his id.
I don't know. Yeah. I there were definitely episodes in there that I would consider to be the best of the series. So
yeah,
like the Planetina episode is up there with me.
The episode is really good.
With the one where Morty, like, just does whatever he wants because he thinks he has a time reset button.
Yeah,
it's also one.
Oh God, fuck! Why did you make me feel things about that again?
That was probably one of my favorite episodes ever.
Every time he, like, bumps into that glasses girl, I see that scene of him bumping into that glasses girl, my body's just like, my heart isn't ready. Hey, boo.
Well, technically, I mean, she like, because when the realities converged, she showed up when
the realities converged, so everything that happened with her did happen in that universe, but that wasn't his original universe.
Oh right, yeah, because that was like
Yeah,
a
like-
random.
Yeah, like he was like Rick was like, you think I'm gonna waste our universe on teaching you a lesson?
Oh yeah. No.
Yeah, so that wasn't so like yeah, that did canonically happen in that universe, and she does exist, and what happened to them does exist, but not in
Yeah, I
Morty's
forgot.
universe, and he has no idea because they left, and he never saw her, and they just left.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if he showed up, then yeah. So obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing, because she does exist and she still does remember him. They could get back together. No, I forget. No, yeah. I don't. You know, and then we had like some development with I don't even remember the girl's name. The one that he's always Jessica.
Jessica, yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck off on my time god.
Fuck off on my time god. Which was neat.
Yeah, it was neat, and it was, I guess, kind of nice, especially since that happened before the Planetina episode, and it kind of like, it entirely cuts off the entire Jessica subplot.
Right.
Which I think is very important because it allowed Morty to pursue, like, to actually wholeheartedly pursue the relationship with Planetina, and to stop just, like, endlessly going after this girl that he idealized in his head.
Right.
Who, honestly, like, the real Jessica doesn't really even exist to him.
Yeah.
He's always just idealized her in his mind. And, like, with Planetina, he could actually, once he let that go, he was actually able to pursue, like, a real relationship with Planetina.
Yeah. And I was actually, you kind of took the words out of my mouth there. I was going to say, you know, if he had gotten with Jessica, there would have been a lot of, like, sloppy ends on that plate. You know, just it would have been really mired in other crap. But then, you know, you get a clean plate, you get a clean slate.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. You took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
That good.
We thought the same thing.
Yeah. No, I could talk with you about Rick and Morty a lot. I wish.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
I think if I ever were to redo everything or like start a new YouTube channel, I feel like I'd want to do like just talking about cartoons kind of thing. Because
yeah,
I don't
that'd
know.
be fun.
That's always something I've been really
It's a fun
interested
thing
in
to
is
talk about.
in animation and stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know, animation as a medium just has it was a concept that Yahtzee talked about in a relatively recent Slightly Something Else that I've been thinking about a lot. Which is that there is a big advantage with like cartoons, any kind of cartoons and animation in general, where with the viewer you immediately like remove that first necessary level of disconnect of a suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, because you don't have
it's
to.
a cartoon.
Yeah, you don't have to try to maintain a suspension of disbelief. There's an initial expectation.
There
of
is an
disbelief.
innate one.
Yeah.
Because you're watching an animation versus anything with live action that has to be that initial suspension of disbelief of like separating it from the real world, so to speak. And so that is a big advantage that animated media has, is that they can put, and not only does it make it cheaper to portray fantastical things, but they also get to remove that initial layer of suspension of disbelief where the audience doesn't have to work as hard to invest themselves into the specific fantasy of the world's rules that they're currently in when watching the show.
Yeah. And it's something I've always been a big proponent of is like cartoons are not a genre. Animation is not a genre. It is a medium.
Yep, exactly.
You know, to say, oh well, this is a cartoon, it must be directed at kids, and that's completely incorrect. And I think people who think that are, I don't want to say old, but they're old fashioned, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
But you know, there was a cartoon by Harry Partridge where he's like, animation is a beautiful medium, and what other universe or in what other medium can you have a guy's arm turn into a sexual red lobster who's really excited for the upcoming Captain America movie, and he just like animates his arm turn into a lobster that speaks at a lisp and is like, have you seen the Red Skull? Oh my god.
Amazing.
This is a Uh, really random fact. You've heard of Harry Partridge, right?
Sounds familiar.
He's a
Can't place it.
really famous, like, used to be a big Newgrounds animator.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, okay.
his dad is the lead singer from an old band called XTC, which had a song I think called "Dear God," not like a anti-religion song, but
Yeah.
it's just this really random fact that like this famous animator had a famous singer as a dad.
Neat.
It's kind of a random fact for you. But
Neat.
speaking of random singers, depression, and Kanye West dropped a new album.
Yeah, I heard about that. I think I've heard like one track off of it so far, though.
I
listened to the
haven't.
whole thing
I've
yet.
been meaning to do a listening
This is
party.
like his first, like, this is like the post-divorce album, right?
Right. This is the post-divorce album.
Yeah.
So interesting enough about that. Interestingly enough about that, just say I've been wanting to listen to it. I actually haven't listened to it, but I've been wanting to do a listening party with like somebody. I don't know. It's apparently like a 20 or 30 track album or something. It's pretty long, but
Okay.
I listened to the first one off of it. I think it's Jail. It's damn good. It's
a
damn
banger.
It's damn good.
Yeah. Kanye is good at putting out them bangers.
Kanye is good at putting out music. That is
Yep. He is an amazing producer. He is very good at making bangers.
apparently Markiplier's brother. Just going back onto that, somebody in chat said Markiplier's brother is a furry artist.
Oh, neat.
A fan. So yeah, apparently famous people are friends with or related to other famous people. That's how they get famous. No, I'm kidding.
Yep, there is a Monster Hunter World speedrunner who I still follow on Twitter who, like, is the exclusive reason why Furry Vor keeps showing up on my Twitter feeds.
Oh my god, dude! I'm
Well, actually,
friends.
Scaly Vor, but
I'm friends with one porn artist, or like mutuals with one porn
Yeah.
artist on Twitter, because it's Kanta's main artist,
yeah,
and they followed me, and I was like, because I was gonna do some commissions from them or whatever, because like they draw normal art, but
Yeah.
also they draw porn, and
Yeah.
so I'm following them, and then just randomly I'll just be sitting there, you know, random stuff, Final Fantasy 14, maybe some Monster Hunter, maybe some
Yep.
dicks.
Yep, I'll be like on the toilet at work, taking a quick breather and like scrolling through Twitter. I'm like, okay, yeah, Valorant stuff. Okay, yeah, Monster Hunter stuff. Okay, some random stuff Bernie Sanders liked or posted. Cool. And Scaly Vor.
Oh my god. Jeez. It's like actually I had to unfollow Heika because all he does is like retweet like anime girls.
Oh no, Heika's.
He's horny on main, dude.
Heika is horny on main.
But so you got anything going on recently? Anything fun?
I am looking. I mean, I'm still like doing research into and looking into moving into a data analytics career.
Mm-hmm.
If I wanted to do data science, that's definitely something I'd have to go back for a degree for.
Mm-hmm.
For data analytics, though, it's very possible to get started in the field without a degree, which would definitely 4 years commitments to put towards a degree is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm exploring what avenues I can do without that. I also know some people who work at some very big tech companies who are also I'm talking with and getting information from about this kind of stuff. Figure out what kind of certs are important. Figure out what tool. I mean, I know what like tool sets I need to have. I just don't know to what like degree of advancedness I need them. Like, I know I need to brush up a lot on a lot of my stat and more advanced math shit. I need to brush up and learn some more Python. I definitely need to learn more SQL. I need to get used to industry software like Tableau and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot I need to work on, but knowing exactly what I need to hit to be competitive for entry level positions is important. So mostly just looking into that kind of stuff. Mostly just been chilling otherwise, though.
Okay.
Next week, not next week, next month, in like 3 weeks, going to Chicago for my stepsister's gay wedding.
Okay.
And we're gonna be in Chicago for 4 days, which will be fun. Be neat. Haven't been to Chicago since I was a little kid.
Go to oh God, why can't I remember the name of the pizza place I like? Give me a second.
I.
God, I can't remember the name of Giordano's. Yeah, Giordano's. Go get some Giordano's.
How do you spell that?
Giordano's for some deep dish.
Just message it to me in Discord.
Yeah, well.
Because I will
No, not Giordano's. No, Giordano's is like the normie place. Go to Gino's. Yeah, Gino's. There you go. God, I was like, it starts with a G, but that's not right. Gino's. Geno.
Okay.
And I'll message it to you, but like,
Yeah, thanks.
Gino's is nutty, dude. They give you like a crayon. They're just like, dude, write on the walls. It's funny.
Nice. Yeah, no, we're staying at an Airbnb that is like 420 friendly, and Jenny's very excited because legal weed in Chicago.
Yeah.
So we'll get to go to a dispensary and stuff.
Oh, right. They don't have legal weed in
Georgia? Nope. We have Delta 8 THC, which is technically legal because of a loophole that protects the hemp plant in Georgia. So we get Delta 8 THC, which is like not really psychoactive, but has some of the benefits. So we get that, but we don't get actual weed.
Weed people.
Weed people.
Weed people.
I mean, I don't smoke anymore, but also like the fact that it's illegal is still really dumb. But it's a really dumb substance to be illegal.
It's a plant.
It's not just that it's a plant, it also just has so many therapeutic benefits. I mean, opium's also from a plant, but should be a Schedule 1 drug.
If it were up to me, none of you fuckers would smoke or drink or anything. Okay.
And the world evolves into chaos.
No one. Oh, well. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Though,
yeah, like
although honestly,
what we have
smoking
going
it,
on
I
right
think is like dumb. Like, I don't know. Smoking weed is dumb. Smoking anything is dumb. It just puts crap in your lungs.
Yeah, fair.
Like, you know, edibles.
That's why
sure.
THC cards have been so like popular lately.
So edibles, fine. You know, injectables, fine. Whatever, dude. Just like, don't smoke that crap.
Lol. Yeah, the hard part with like edibles
Or aren't there like
is like appropriate dosaging.
Aren't there
because-
like applicables or something? You like smear them on your skin or something?
Yeah, they just don't absorb as effectively.
Yeah.
Like edibles, the main issue with edibles is just dosaging is very difficult. Because like it takes so long for it to be fully absorbed and digested and everything, it's hard to know when you've had enough because you have to wait so long to confirm if you've had enough or need more or less.
What is that, the first time edible thing where they take it and it's been like 10 minutes, like oh, I can have another one.
Thing. Let me have another one, and then 30 minutes later, like oh fuck, and then another 30 minutes later, like oh fuck. Yeah. So dosaging is definitely difficult with edibles. And THC vapes are a thing too, but they don't give you exactly the same like effects as burning it does. The high is very different apparently, from what I've heard. Not that it's necessarily bad, but it's different.
I see. Smoking's bad, okay?
Okay. Drugs are bad, okay?
No, it's like whatever. Let people live how they want to live, you know, I guess. As long as it's not somehow affecting me. You know, like if impaired driving becomes an issue or something.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like that
But
needs to be regulated,
but like, you know, I think smoking is just a terrible way to intake something, because I know what smoking cigarettes can do to your lungs, and I don't imagine that smoking weed is any better.
cigarettes are significantly worse, but that's not to say there aren't health problems related to like carcinogens of smoking weed.
Yeah.
But cigarettes are significantly worse.
Well, I mean, if we make commercial
Carcinogenic
weed available, I'm sure it's gonna be packed with the same crap as cigarettes. They'll put in like the you know, because there's like the for lack of better words, and you know, if somebody's offended by the word, like the fire retardant in, it's the proper use of it, but like in cigarettes, so they don't burn without you smoking them. You know, that would get put in commercial grade weed cigarettes. You know, all that stuff is eventually gonna be like moved into it if it becomes commercial. But
that is a fair point. I actually don't think I've ever heard anyone bring up that point before, but that is a fair point.
I don't know. I just know what's in cigarettes because I hounded my mom about it for years. I was like, you know, whenever she'd be like, blah, 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 I feel sick. Oh, it's on my back. It's like, yeah, because you smoke cigarettes and your lungs are basically in a constant state of repair because they've been burned and have smoke damage. So your body is incapable of repairing everything else because it's constantly focusing on fixing your stupid ass lungs.
Yup. Smoking's bad, okay?
Yeah, smoking's just bad.
Real talk, though, like, as a person who's had a nicotine addiction since I was, like, 16 or 17, nicotine addiction is, like, the dumbest addiction to get.
Yeah.
It doesn't even fucking do anything for you. Like, you stop getting, like, a buzz from smoking cigarettes after a very quickly into a nicotine addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, the only reason you're smoking is to take the edge off because you're trying to fight withdrawal symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't even get, like, a buzz or high or drunk or anything off of it. It's just to fight back withdrawal symptoms is why you keep smoking. It is the dumbest addiction to have.
Well, I've had people tell me that it becomes part of their ritual.
Yep.
That, like, you know, you go outside and you go put this thing to your face and, like, that's part of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, part of it, too, is the ritual of it. That's why it makes, like, that's why nicotine patches have such a low success rate.
Yeah.
And why vapes are a much more easy to pick up alternative.
Uh-huh.
Because you still get the ritual of, like, putting the thing in your mouth, you know, sucking on it, all that stuff. Like, the ritual of it is an important aspect of it. And even if you aren't missing necessarily the chemical itself, the nicotine itself, the ritual is still such a fundamental part of the experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I know quite a few people who are recovering heroin addicts, and like it's similar for heroin too, where like the ritual of
tying off your arm and
tying off and all that stuff is like what is like a very important part of it psychologically speaking. So even when you no longer have even when you don't have the chemical cravings as much anymore, you still miss that ritual and like what it meant to you and what it did for you.
Strange.
Yeah.
Humans are weird, dude.
Humans are weird.
But
we are weird.
So I wanted to take a quick minute. I know this is kind of like a hard transition to make, but so I've been doing Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
And we finally got a free company, which is a guild on Brynhilder. Hand holders. Yeah, I'm doing a giveaway for a cruise chaser, which is like a $30 mount to one person in the FC. So if you're in Brynhilder, or if you are a fan of the channel, or if you thought about playing Final Fantasy because of the coming up expansion or anything, yeah, we're doing a giveaway for that. So if you want to join, just send a request, and be cool to hang out with some peoples from the YouTube community or whatever.
Yeah, Final Fantasies.
It's been going fun. I'm finishing up Stormblood today.
Is that one of the expansions?
Yeah, it's the second expansion. I don't know if it's considered 4.0, but it's like the second expansion but because the first version of the game was 1.0, and then the remake is considered 2.0.
Gotcha.
So I don't know. It's 4.0.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And it's really good, actually. The story is really, really, really good.
Glad to hear that.
I don't want to like spoil anything, because I'm still kind of hoping someday maybe you would play through it just for the story alone. But
like, I'm glad to hear though that it has a good story, just because like Final Fantasy writing, this might be like a hot take, but Final Fantasy writing has not always been that great. It's always been very enthusiastic.
Yeah.
But a lot of the Final Fantasy games don't have very good writing.
I generally haven't found really many compelling JRPG stories. I think the most compelling one that I ever remembered playing was Tales of Symphonia.
Yeah, Symphonia was very good.
Which, speaking of which, Tales of Arise came out, but I don't think I'm actually gonna play it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's getting some praise and stuff, but to me, the Tales games always had a specific art style, and I don't like this new art style a lot. I'm not a big fan of it, but I've been told that the big shield girl who wears a lot of armor also has a glasses skin, so maybe I'm gonna have to do that just for that.
Yeah, I have considered picking it up as just something to play, but I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, do I even want to pick up a new game to play at this point, when like I'm probably going to be committing a lot of my time to like self-development of my skill set and whatnot for a career transition at this point. So do I even want to pick up a new game?
Yeah, and I mean, there's other stuff we're gonna play too. You know, we're gonna do you know, we got to do that Borderlands thing at some point.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be doing Battlefield at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know what else is coming up, and then like I've also got a bunch of games coming up. I'm actually gonna take a break because I'm gonna be heading into Shadowbringers, which is considered by a lot of people. I've heard this from a lot of people. It's the best story ever told in a Final Fantasy game ever.
Okay.
Which is either a high bar or a low bar to clear, depending on your opinion of Final Fantasy games. But and I have 2 months in order to get through Shadowbringers for Endwalker. And I feel like I'm just... Stormblood didn't take me that long, and apparently Shadowbringers isn't longer than Stormblood. So I'm just going to take a week off and do, you know, something like, you know, finish Ghost of Tsushima, Kenna and the Spirits of something, Spirits of the Forest maybe. But Kenna is coming out, and that looked just bonkers cool.
Yeah.
Then Death Loop is coming out, and I promised Socks, you know, Capcom Socks. Soxy.
Yeah.
I promised him that I'd play it.
Death Loop looks really neat, actually.
So.
Death Loop looks really neat. I kind of want... That might be a game... Like, since it is a roguelike, especially, that might be a game I might want to pick up at some point. But I was just sad to see that the multiplayer is, like, not actually, like, cooperative multiplayer. It's Dark Souls Invasion multiplayer.
That'd be fun. That just sounds like Mario Kart is just gonna ruin friendships.
Yeah, basically.
But
it's like the two like board games that ruin friendships are Munchkin and Diplomacy.
Never heard of either of those.
Munchkin is like a D&D inspired card game where the goal is to hit level 10 before anyone else. And it's like early on, you know, you're well rewarded for like cooperating with each other and sharing treasures and stuff, and like, oh yeah, well, all fun. And then someone hits level 9 and the entire atmosphere of the table changes. And it's there's a lot of cards and a lot of mechanics in that specifically designed to fuck other players up, and it is.
Sounds like Mario Party.
Basically, it's not a great game to play with people you want to stay friends with.
Speaking of D&D, Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous
Yeah.
is really interesting. I don't know if I'm having fun with it. It reminds me a lot of Dungeon Siege.
Yeah.
I think I picked the wrong. I think I'm gonna make a new character.
Yeah.
Or although early D&D, everybody's squishy as hell, so maybe that's just my problem.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, that's just early like, the only character that is, like... The only two kinds of characters that aren't, like, relatively speaking, aren't that squishy, like, early level are barbarians because they get the most hit die, so they have the most HP, but they tend to have low AC armor class, so they get hit more often. And then generally fighters who specifically spec into heavier armor generally with shields because they have a high AC. Their hit points aren't that high, but they just don't get hit as much because of their armor class.
Yeah, I went for a Dex fighter.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna have low AC. They're definitely gonna be pretty squish.
Yeah, I went for like a finesse.
Low constitution, low hit die. Like probably average to below average hit die. Yeah, definitely gonna be on the squishier side.
Yeah, I went from like finesse weapon, like a fencing fighter, and I mean my AC's higher than everybody else's, I guess, but. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just feel
the Dex at least helps
squishy.
with your AC a bit, but
Yeah. Feels squishy.
yeah, early game though, like I mean, if the number balancing is in line with normal Pathfinder stuff, everyone is squishy early game.
Yeah.
Like everyone is squishy early game, and like D&D is the kind of game where like the encounters are the like default encounters based off of like the actual like Dungeon Master's Guide recommendations and shit are kind of balanced around having your 4 to 5 player party that's like balanced roles and everything.
Yeah.
Like of course it's D&D. You can play a full team of fighters if you want to, but they are kind of balanced around the idea of you having, your classic 5-man band sort of party like troop.
See, I want to do like a duo playthrough, like just me and another character. So I'm trying to figure out like what would be the most well-rounded 2-player team.
If it's in line with traditional Pathfinder, cleric's broken.
My friend was telling me about his
probably
monk.
kind of mandatory because you probably want to have a healer if you're running a 2-man team.
My friend
And
was telling me
is classically kind of broken.
my friend was telling me about his monk, how it has like 110 move or 110 speed, hits like 10 times around. And he doesn't even use teleport anymore, which monk can apparently teleport because it's just faster to just run places.
Yeah. Like, the thing is, I can only speak on my experience with the actual tabletop Pathfinder. I have no idea how they translated and how they balanced things for the actual game.
No idea.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, so far it's less interesting gameplay-wise than Divinity.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I wouldn't say it's definitely more in depth than Divinity as well.
Yeah. Divinity definitely had a boiled down D&D like system to it.
Yeah, whether that's good or bad, I don't know. I couldn't tell.
Well,
you.
yeah. Divinity's a lot more in line with like D&D 5e, which was boiled down to be more video game and MMO like, which is why it failed horribly. Oh, not 5e, sorry, 4e. Wait, no, 5e. Wait, no.
4E is the one that failed.
4E.
People like 5E.
Yeah, 4e is the one that failed. Sorry, 5e is the good one. 5e is the one that took the lessons from 3.5 and 4e and made a good middle ground product. Yeah, sorry. 4e is the bad one where they always like, hey, World of Warcraft's popular, let's make D&D World of Warcraft.
Yeah, you're having fun.
Yeah. People are bringing up pets and rangers is also probably a good one, just because pets add an extra body.
Yeah.
But depending on balancing, pets can be really fucking busted. Also, rangers at later levels, at least in traditional Pathfinder, get access to some healing capabilities and some spell capabilities. And they'll never be as good as, like, a Dex two-hand fighter at fighting, but they get close enough while also having extra splash bits in their kit.
Speaking of two-handers, I actually wanted to... some reason, I got an inkling. I got a desire to, play Dark Souls 3 again.
Yeah.
As like a muscle mage, like a two-handed.
Dude, muscle mages are the best.
I wanted you to be there for it, if I did it.
The hard part of muscle mage initially is getting it online, because you need the strength, endurance, and int to be able to actually functionally muscle mage.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, even just getting, like, a Zweihander character online is quite a few levels of investment. Then you also need some ints to be able to cast magic weapon. And you also need enough attunement to be able to slot spells.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know,
But the moment you first get that sexy giant popsicle Zweihander going is it's a beautiful moment.
Yeah, I don't know, I just had this desire, I guess.
Yeah, if you played through with, like, Sword and Shield or, like, Dex builds or whatnot, or quality builds in Dark Souls, playing through with, like, Uggs with Ultra Great Swords is a very different experience.
Yeah.
It's a very different experience. It's a lot more about, like, spacing and timing than it is about, like, reaction and, like, fast and, like, you know, reaction dodging and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's about figuring out how to make your hits land either before things connect with you, or, like, in the gaps you find that actually have enough time for you to land.
Mm-hmm.
It's really satisfying clearing through levels with, like, any kind of Ultra Great Sword once you're familiar enough with the level, because you start reaching this point where you can preemptively basically knock off half of something's health before they even get a chance to attack you.
Yeah, you were telling me how a full muscle mage can beat, like, Gale in 3 hits or something.
Yeah, something around that range, yeah. 3 to, like, 5 hits for most bosses, if you have, like, a fully kitted build and you're not in an NG+.
That sounds funny.
Yeah, the best muscle mage that ever existed was in Dark Souls 2, because that's when Hex magic was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But specifically the Crypt Black Sword was a thing as well, which scaled with Dark, and also could get a Dark infusion to scale more Dark, and then you could stack more Dark on top of that with Hex spells that cost you souls to use, but were very strong.
Mm-hmm.
That was the heyday of the lol my giant popsicle stick 3 shots things times. It was always hilarious because I would do a lot of Murder Bridge PvP in Dark Souls 2, and like, not a lot of people run Hex builds because they're so expensive, and even fewer run Hex, like, Uggs builds, like muscle Hex builds.
Mm-hmm.
So people didn't expect to see them be left with 20% health when I hit them once. And it's hilarious when you fight someone who's never fought that kind of build again, because you can tell the moment you get that first hit in, they're just fucking panic rolling like crazy.
See this? This is my boomstick.
Basically.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Well, really fun talking with you again.
Yeah, it's always fun talking with you.
It'll be interesting to see the reaction to this video, since it was like 10
Genshin.
seconds of Genshin.
Yup.
And then just stream of consciousness.
Yup.
I don't know. As far as, like, Kokomi, for anybody, you know, depending on when this comes out, like, this is pre-Kokomi, so there's not any actual information available right now.
Yeah, like, there's some pre-release stuff. They're like pre-release theorycrafting, but it's all pre-release stuff, so shrug. Until we see her official numbers and her official kit on launch in like 2 days, or like tomorrow, I guess, for Chinese players. Shrug.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll know better tomorrow after we see the actual release data. But
Yep. But also still kind of Kekomi.
yep, Kokomi, Kekomi.
I mean, she's not as like Kokomi as she was on initial release, if like based on what is known, but she's still pretty Kokomi.
Kokomi.
Komi, Kekomi, Kekmi, Kokomium, Kokomium,
Kokopium.
Kokopium.
But yeah, all right, man. All right, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the patrons who are still sticking around. Thank you for everybody who joined the stream in the last week, and just said hi and thank you and all that good stuff. Big thank you to Anasui, Noel, Bucks, and Shadows who gave some subs today on the stream. And yeah, we'll try to have this out. I don't know.
Day or two. I could potentially, because it is my day off, I could potentially get this out today or tomorrow early. Pretty easily. Just because I don't. The main issue normally is if we record this during a work day is I have to like download the Twitch thing, edit it slightly, and then get it encoding, and I don't normally have time to do that before work.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't have time to do that after work either, so.
Okay.
But since it's my day off today, it should be easier to find time to let it encode and shit like that.
Okay. Well, then you will see it when you see it. And we will see you in the next one.
See y'all in the next one, where we'll be talking about Kokopium.
Yep. Have a good day, everybody. Bye.